Hello guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It is me again, your girl Thlologelo Promise Rampa, and this is Relocate to Australia with Promise. It is still for sure and definitely your #1 DIY relocation platform. So if you are looking for information on how you can relocate to Australia or anywhere else in this world, guys, this is the channel to be at. So don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and don't forget to engage with us. Well, me, us. Don't forget to engage with us so that we can respond to you with the relevant information. Hopefully we'll be able to help you with whatever situation that you're in, because if you're going through this relocation process and you're doing it alone, it is so difficult. I've tried that and I've done it. Yes, I did succeed in relocating by myself without the use of an agent, but I'm telling you guys, it is so hard. So all right guys, I've been away for a while. I really don't want to be that person who explains why they've been away for such a long time and all of that. And this time around, I was away with my whole YouTube project. I think this is the second time where I've been away for a very long time. The first time is because I was working on something else, like it was just this other project that I was working on, and it was taking so much of my time. So I think I was away for like about 4 weeks working on that project, and then after I was done with it, then I came back. But this time around, me leaving was something that was not really planned and was something that was really out of my control. I really do not want to be that person who comes back to be like, oh, I've been so inconsistent. Trust me, I wanted to still maintain consistency because I do understand that people really do need my information, and I can see that with the engagement that I still continue to get on my other social media platforms like my Facebook, my Instagram, and LinkedIn. I do get a lot of people who would still be asking questions, and I'm like, you know what, Promise, get yourself together and go back there. So yes, and that's the reason why I was like, okay, fine, I need to go through this thing that I'll tell you about. I need to go through it and then finish quickly because I need to go back to work. So yes guys, first of all, I would like to thank everyone that still subscribed to my channel even though I was not putting out any content. Thank you so much to everyone that was commenting even though I was not putting out any content. Really guys, I think that is one of the things that brought me back. And I even had people on my Facebook who were like, yeah, when I promise you've been away for 2 months. I'm like, hey guys, don't do this to me again. But then yes, I really do understand. It's because I understand why I am here, and I understand that this is something that I need to do. And even though it is so difficult sometimes to juggle life and juggle this channel and juggle everything all together, hey, it is very difficult, but I understand that my calling is here right now for me to be there for you guys, and I'll try to be here as much as possible. So yes, do continue with that engagement on my social media platforms. What I'm trying to do now, because I did try out the WhatsApp group, it did not really work, but I don't want to give up on it. Somehow in my head, I don't want to give up on it. I still want to like work on it and find ways of like fine-tuning it, because I do find a lot of people trying to get into that group, even though I've said in some of my videos that I was not doing it anymore. So I did think of giving it up, but then hey, my spirit is telling me to go back there. But this is what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to also kind of like have conversations and discussions happening on my Facebook page. So the Facebook page is the same thing that I'm doing here on YouTube. So it's called Relocate to Australia with Promise, or you can just search my name and hopefully under groups it will come out. Yes, Kuno. So yes, my children, guys, I have my children in here. They are on the ground drawing. I'm trying to keep them busy. My husband is away for the weekend. He's out with the boys. So I'm like, okay, I've got the kids to myself. It's been crazy, but yeah. So what I was saying is I'm trying to get our Facebook page to be more alive, where we can have discussions, and even when people can join in like later and they have a question, we can always kind of like tag them somewhere if it has been answered, so that we can keep this train going, because this information is a lot and it's too much and it can be very overwhelming. But for me, I have to kind of like say the same information 300 times. Hey, it's tiring. But yes, that's why I've created this platform, and that's why I have this channel and all of that, so that we can have these discussions. And if people are feeling lost or people are feeling like they need that, you know, upliftment or anything. Yes, baby. Oh, that's lovely. That's beautiful, babe. Yeah, so if people are feeling like they need that upliftment, or they're just stuck somewhere, and they don't know what to do, and somehow in the comment sections they find somebody that has been in the same situation and has gotten out of it, it kind of stimulates you and kind of gets you out of whatever that you're going through at that point in time. So yes, that's why we are here. So yes, guys, I've been going through the most. It has been rough. Yo, it has been so rough. It has been so rough. Sometimes I think about it. I'm like, yo, my life. I'm doing work, but it's been so rough. Okay, where do I start? I think the reason why I'm able to talk about this now, I feel like I've spoken about it so much, with like my family and my friends, and I'm not hurting as much as I did when I initially spoke about it when everything went down. So, but then yeah, like it's kind of like, hey, there's something about grief that is just difficult. Like some days you wake up and you're like, okay, today I get strong, right, I'm good, I'm all good. And then some days you wake up, you're like, hey, today's Thursday. And then your heart. So I lost my grandmother on the 22nd of July this year, so just last month. And yeah, like I don't even know if I want to go into the details of it, but what happened was she was okay, she was fine, and then she got the COVID vaccine, and then after getting the COVID vaccine she was unwell for like about 2 weeks, and then she passed away. One thing that I will tell you guys, name, and I think I will be jumping back and forth, but one thing that I will tell you guys is, when something is about to happen, somehow your spirit and your intuition tells you, but because it has not yet revealed itself, you don't know what's going on. I remember 2 weeks prior to her passing, I think it was during the time when she had gotten her COVID vaccine. And my grandmother was this kind of a person, right? My grandmother was very spiritual. Like, she was a very spiritual woman, and I thank God for her, because she taught us that spirituality, even though she didn't teach us okay, this is what you need to do. Yes, baby. Even though she did not teach us like mainstream education, like in schooling and whatever, but in the way that she raised us to really acknowledge God and really acknowledge our ancestors. And for that, I'm so grateful for that. But anyway, going back to what happened. So apparently weeks prior to her getting that vaccine, when the rollout came in South Africa, my grandfather was like to him, when he came around to where they live, their village in Maranagobusha in Mpumalanga, you wouldn't know it. It's a small village. So yes, when the rollout came out, my grandfather was like, hey dude, let's go do this. No, he didn't say dude, but you get what I mean. So he was like, hey Mrachak, let's go do this thing. Let's go get this vaccine. And then apparently my grandmother was like, no, like I did not get a signal from, God and my ancestors to say I should go do this. So for a while she was like, no, I don't want to go get it. I'm not too sure. I don't think I want to go get this thing. And then my grandfather was like, okay, fine, no problem. And then a while later, she just changed her mind. I don't know what happened, but she changed her mind and she was like, okay, fine, let's just go. So she and my grandfather went to the local clinic and they got the jab. And I was talking to my husband about this, and I'm like, I wonder if when they're doing this, do they consider people with like chronic diseases and all of that? Because my grandmother was old, so she had all these chronic stuff. So I was just wondering, I'm like, why didn't they not give it to like people who have such things? But then again, like with COVID, it's very tricky, because you don't get the jab, you risk getting COVID, and then you get the jab and then you die. It's almost like there's no way out. Like, this is not funny. It's almost like there's no way out. But then when it happened, when I was told the story of what happened, I was angry for like a while. But then it's because like when you're grieving and you're going through the process of grief, you're trying to direct your pain some way. So I was angry at the whole situation for a while, but then I was like, it's fine. That's why I'm laughing about it. I'm like, it's fine, it just happened. But yeah, so that's what happened. So she, after a while, changed her mind and said, okay, fine, let's go get this vaccine. So she got it, and then she started getting sick. So what happened was, the time after she got that vaccine and started getting sick, this was me now in Australia, right? When my grandmother started getting sick, and I didn't even get word that she was unwell, but I started feeling it. Like, I started feeling down and I started feeling low, and I didn't understand what was going on, because everything in my life was okay. Like, there was nothing really that was out of place like that. And it was during the time where South Africa was going through the riots and all the everything burning, the looting and all of that. And I thought that maybe my spirit was low and down because of that. But when I really reflected on it, I was like, hi man, wait, my family is in the rurals in Mpumalanga. Like, there's no way that looting is gonna happen there. I do have some family that is in KZN in Newcastle. Oh, Killa, that's beautiful. That's lovely, baby. I do have some family that is in Newcastle. So these are my in-laws. It's Mamsi and Tulani. So they're from my husband's side of the family. But they were not really affected by the looting. We were talking on the phone and we were checking on each other, and we were really laughing about the whole situation and kind of like, sharing the pain, being far away from home and experiencing it. Is it vicariously? Yeah, I don't know. English is hard. Yes, so I'm experiencing it even though you're not there. I don't know what the English term is, but yes, I thought maybe that was the reason why I was feeling down and low and I was just drained. I would go to work, come back from work, and I'm like, I'm feeling low and I don't know what's going on. And I remember there was this one time I called my aunt. So this is the aunt that was taking care of my grandmother before she passed. And I called her and we were talking. And I remember when I had that conversation with her, because I'd spoken to my grandmother a while back. And I was on the phone with her. And I was like, oh, man, how are you? Hi, everything is fine. Okay, no problem. And then I was like to her, like, it's like a general catch-up session. And then I'm like, how is Gogo and Tatemoro, like grandma and granddad? And then she paused the bed and she said, they were fine. Oh, beautiful, Thlolo. She paused the bed and she was like, no, they're fine. They're okay. And, I said this thing to her. And after everything happened, she reminded me of this. I said this thing to her. I was like, you guys, like my family has this thing. They are so brutal. My family is so brutal. They have this thing where they don't want to stress you. So if somebody is sick, they will not tell you, especially if you're far away. They will not tell you. I don't know if it has maybe something to do with culture or anything like that. But they will not tell you until everything is done. And they're like, hey, Sbanbani is gone. And you're like, but I feel like you should have given me the opportunity to at least speak to this person and say goodbye or something. But anyway, I was on the phone call with my aunt. And I was like to her, okay, how's Gogo and Tatemoro? And she's like, oh, no, they're fine. They're okay. I was like, okay, no problem. But then I could hear in her voice that, no, man. Something in my spirit was telling me that something was going on. And then I was like to her, you guys are so brutal because you're going to wait until somebody dies before you tell me. And then she laughed about this. And then fine, we just let it slide and we laughed about it. And that is exactly what happened. So I remember the night before I found out that she had passed. So she passed on a Thursday night. Like, it was Wednesday night going into Thursday morning. So it was on the 22nd of July. And I'm like, Grandma, did you really have to choose the 22nd? Anyone that knows me, 2022 is a very special number for me because I was born on the 22nd. So anything that has to do with 22 for me is always a signal. All the time. My husband thinks I'm crazy. But every time I'm like, 22, 22, 22. That is a signal. I must do it. If I was betting Muchina, if I was playing Muchina, I would always play number 22. Can you play 22 to Muchina? I don't know. Anyway, and when I got the call from my mom, and it was when I was at work where I received the news. So I got a call from my mom. And this is the thing. One thing with me and my mom's relationship is that we don't really like talk that much. So when I got a call from her, I knew that there was something really serious. Like even throughout the years, I remember even when I was in varsity and something was going on at home, they would still keep it a secret somehow in my family. When I got the call from her, she was like, I picked up the phone. So usually, because for me, I get free calls to South Africa. So I always tell my family, just buzz me and then I'll call you back. So she calls me and I'm like, hello, Mchana. I call her Mchana. Like, hello, Mchana. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll call you back now. So before calling her back, I look at the time. I'm like, hey, man, it's 10:11. Something is going on. So I have 2 clocks in my phone. I look at the South African time. It's around like 3 a.m. in South Africa. And something in me said, something happened. Something big happened. And then so she's like to me, the only thing she just said to me was like, Mama Hlokofetch. Like meaning that mom has passed away. Like her mom. The first thing that I experienced was obviously shock. Like I was so shocked. But I was angry also because I was like, what happened? Like, and I was at work at the time. And I'm like, what happened? And she's like, no, she got the vaccine and she got sick and all of that. I'm like, oh, so this person was sick and nobody thought of like telling me to say this person is unwell. Jay, just say hello to her, say goodbye to her or something. So I was angry for like about a while. And then I spent some bit of time at work. And then when I got into the car, I realized, you know what? She's probably also going through so much herself. So I called her and I was like, I'm sorry to have lashed out on you like that. Because for me, I felt like, hey, clever to these people. It's almost like you're telling me that she died from a plane crash. And my grandmother was afraid of aeroplanes, so there was no way she was going to die from an aeroplane. So now it's almost like you're telling me somebody has died from a car accident. I really have to like process it like that. And it's worse because now I'm not even home. Like I'm in a foreign country and I cannot even make it home as in tomorrow. I left work and then I came home and the first thing that I did when I got here, I just went on to my... what was the first thing that I did? The first thing that I did, I think I just came home and then I just started looking for all the videos, and I thank God, because I used to always record like special moments with her, even though they were not like that special at that time, but I have like very fundamental, some of the fundamental like memories with her in it. And like I was really grateful for that. And somehow I think maybe also being far away, I was able to kind of like process this in a different way. But again, like the thing with grief and mourning and all of that is, we all go through it in different ways. But one thing that I found was the way in which I'm dealing with it and how my family members are dealing with it is very different, and we're all dealing with it differently, like in our own individual ways. But what makes it difficult, what makes it different for me is that I had to process literally everything in my head, because I did not see anything happening. I did not see her get sick. I did not see her die. I did not see her funeral. Like those kind of things. Like I had to literally process the whole thing in my head, accept it in my head, cry about it, this thing that is happening in my head, So I had to come to terms with that, and I had to accept that to be my reality right now, because I'm in Australia, I'm far away. And I know for sure I'm not the first person to have dealt with this. A lot of people have immigrated from wherever, in whatever country where they've been at, and they've gone to a different country. And even if it has not been like going somewhere far like Australia, just being like out of town, like maybe you're in Joburg, Cape Town, Durban working, and then something like that happens. What's different is that maybe you get the opportunity to be able to go home for the burial and the grieving process and being with family. For other people, we don't have that luxury. So yeah, I had to literally process everything like in my head. That's why I've got dreadlocks. So yes, I had to literally experience everything and deal and process with everything in my head. Some days are better than others. Some days are worse and horrible, because I was very close with my grandmother. Like, if people know, like I was very, very close with my grandmother. She was one of those people where anything important and anything special that would happen, she would be my first person to go to, like way before my mom. I'd always tell my mom, I don't love you like I love my grandma. Her love is like bigger and greater, and it's because she loved me. And she loved my children, and she loved all of us. So yeah, guys, I've been going through grief. I've been going through the process. It is so weird when when somebody dies. Like, grief is such an uncomfortable conversation and an uncomfortable position to be at, and it's just so uncomfortable for some reason, because a lot of people have been dying. Like, COVID has been happening, and a lot of people have been losing their lives. And you see somebody having lost someone, you're like, oh, condolences, Albert, I'm sorry. Wait until it's your turn. And then now it's your turn now to get condolences, and you're like, I don't want it. Why me? But you think about it, you're like, hey, who would you rather? Who are you going to sacrifice? So who's supposed to be going through this now? Not you. So it's like that thing when, like, it's now your turn to get the condolences, and you're like, this is me. This is happening to me. It's painful, you guys. It's really painful. But one thing that I will advise you, and one thing that I will tell you, you literally have to go through the grief. You literally have to go through it. There's no going around it. There's no double apple. There's nothing. You literally have to go through it and be honest with yourself about it. One thing that really helped me through this process was praying, being grateful that, being grateful that I had that experience with her and I had her in my life. And I was really so grateful for all the time that I have documented her. I wish that I had documented her more and I had more video of her. But hearing her voice in some of the videos, it felt like she was not gone and she was there. And somehow, one thing that also helped me to kind of process this thing, even though I'm so far away from home, is I think I closed my eyes and I felt like now she can see where I am. Now she can she can see my house. And she can see my car, and she can see how great I'm doing, and she can be here with me now. It's not like when I explained it to her over the phone or anything like that. Like, now she's here, she's present with me. And for me, that was the greatest blessing that I got from this. So it's selfish, I know. But I'm so grateful. I'm like, now I have you. Now you are mine. And I'm so glad that, when she was still alive, she taught us to recognize and understand our ancestors, because now that she has passed, she's that, and she's so great and so big in my life. So I think that's how I have processed this thing for me. And instead of sitting and crying and regretting and being shameful about leaving and being like, oh my God, if I hadn't left, maybe I would have had the last 3-4 years with her and all of that. Because like could have, should have, would have is how do you say this in English? Could have, should have is gone, it's done. You can't go back to change anything. So you just have to forgive yourself. And I did that. I just forgave myself. I was like, you know what, promise, you didn't know that this was going to happen. I was hoping to go back home one day and buy her all the things that she's wanted. And one thing that I'm also grateful for is being able to, when I now started getting my money, I was able to get stuff for her that she wanted, and she got to experience, you know, being taken care of by me, even though I was so far away. That was one of my biggest dreams. And when I was unemployed back home, I couldn't do that for her. So I'm proud that I was able to do that for her, even though I was not home. So sometimes, more life thing, guys, you have to sacrifice in order to accomplish one thing. But sometimes, you know, some things are going to be taken away from you in order for you to get to the next phase of your life or whatever. You know, after the passing of my grandmother, I got to realize that when I'm alive, there's no time to cry for too long. There's no time, especially when you're employed and you've got responsibilities and all of that. And I think that's why adults struggle with adulting, because there's no time for you to process everything in time. It's like, okay, my grandmother passed away. All right, you have however many days of compensation leave. How? So I can only cry for these days. And that's when I realized, you know, I promise, you need money. You need money. You need a private plane. You need a private jet. Okay, guys, let me be serious. We go through grief. We really do go through grief our whole lives. And we are going to still continue going through it our entire lives. Like, that's just how it is. But life, how it is right now, how it is structured, it doesn't really allow you to do as you please and to be sad for a long time. So that's why it's very important for you to, you know, find your source of strength somewhere in something, so that you can go through all these things and find meaning. I'm always a person that is always seeking meaning out of everything. I always believe that whatever that is going on to us, there's something greater that's being communicated. So find whatever it is and ride with it. So it's been about 4 weeks, 5 weeks of everything happening. Today marks exactly a month of her funeral, her burial. And yeah, today has been much lighter than the 22nd of August. 22nd of August was not as bad though. 22nd of August was not as bad because the full moon came, and I'm a moon child. I love the moon. So when I saw the moon, I felt her presence. I was like, okay, she left when it was a full moon, and now it's a full moon again. It's been a full month, and it's the 22nd again, and it's okay. And thank you for picking the 22nd, Grandma, because now I'll never forget. But instead of being hurt and instead of being hurt and feeling pain of you leaving, instead I will embrace you and I will celebrate you on that day, our special day. Now everything for me is always an opportunity for reflection, and that's how I've been going through life ever since I relocated coming to Australia, where I'm so in tune with myself and I prefer to be in this state. And I thank God for being able to, you know, get myself into this space, because I think when I was back home, I was just existing in jail. There was no real meaning to life and all of that. I was just doing life because that's what I had and that's the life that I had. But also it's because I was cushioned by having family. I was cushioned by having family, by having friends, and a familiar environment, like feeling safe and feeling okay. But when you move and you go to a different country, you literally have to rely on yourself. And you have to figure it out for yourself in order for you to figure it out for your children. So I had to go through a whole reprogramming phase in my life when I came here, where I had to be like, okay, now you really need to sit down with yourself and get to understand and know yourself fully 100%, so that when you know yourself, it can be easier for your kids. Somehow, I don't know why I figured it out like that, but that's what I did. And I was so grateful for relocating, because I was able to really get to understand what my purpose is in life and what I'm here for. And when I was back home, I didn't feel like I understood. I knew there was something greater. I knew there was something bigger than me that needed to happen in my life, but I didn't know what it was. And it was only until I came here where it became clearer for me, because I had that time to be alone and everything that was my blanket was taken away. So I literally had to rely on me and had to be self-sufficient and fill myself up and, you know, give myself everything that I would have gotten from anyone else, and make sure that I am full in order for me to navigate this life thing as an immigrant. And I'm telling you guys, with you, it's going to be the same thing. you will experience this where you are away from home for whatever reason. And even if it's not you being out of South Africa for a very long time, you never know. Okay, life, you're like, this is life, it always happens. And you might be that person that is faced with this grief and all of that. We've been dealing with grief like throughout our whole lives, and it's just that sometimes it's not really categorized as grief, because it's kind of like mourning the loss of a friend, like not like them dying, but like that friendship ending or a relationship ending. And we've gone through those processes, and it's normal. But one thing that is very central is you being able to heal from everything. I'm such an advocate for healing. I love healing, because I do understand that life happens to us, but it is really our responsibility to heal. So anyway, I did not want to do that lecture. I just wanted to tell you guys that I am back. Yes, I've lost my grandmother. It was really painful, but now I'm back on my feet, and I'm back on this channel, guys. I am back to be of service. I am back to fulfill my purpose, whatever it is. I am back, child. And thank you so much, guys, you know, to the people that have been supporting me also, like during this period. I had people who were sending me messages and saying, oh, Promise, how we are thinking about you and all of that. Oh, you're really thinking of me. Thank you. Now I feel special. But there was this one friend of mine. I hope you get to meet her. I'll let you know when I'll let you know. But she said something to me, and it stuck. After I told her that my grandmother had passed, she said to me something like, she has carried you in her spirit, and now you'll carry her in yours. Ish. That, I was like, that like, she said it at the right time. She said it at the right time. I needed it, and I was like, you were sent by God. You were sent by God. You were sent by God. My grandmother sent you. My ancestors sent you. They sent you to say that. They sent you to say that to me. And I have just, that it gave me a sense of, I'm not alone. You know, I'm not alone. She's here. She's here, and she's with me, and she's watching right now. She's on the channel watching. She can finally see me. So yeah, I feel very blessed. Like, and I know, like, sometimes people, like, in such times, they're like, how do you feel blessed? Promise, you just lost somebody. But I feel like I have gained her in a different spiritual realm. Like, I had her in this realm, and it was great. It was amazing. And I'm so grateful and thankful. And I'm so grateful and thankful for the time where I was silent, and I was cut off from communicating with people, because I had a time when I was away this past 6 weeks where my phone fell in the water at the beach, and I thought iPhones were waterproof. But anyway, my screen got messed up, and then I had to go fix it. So I was offline for about a week, for about a week. So I didn't have my phone. It was the best time of my life, because I got to really be alone, to process a lot of things. Like, I think it was about a week or two after my grandmother's passing, and it was in that time where I spent most of the time watching her videos, listening to her, and processing everything. And I was really thankful for that alone time that I had with her. So everything happens for a reason, guys. Everything happens together for greater good. I always believe in that, and I believe even now. I experienced her in this realm as this amazing and beautiful spirit, and she was only borrowed to us, obviously, by God and our ancestors, and who is in charge of this whole business. They had lent her to us, and she did great. She did everything that, you know, was assigned to her. If I could tell you stories about that woman, she was a very beautiful woman. Yes, she was in the village, never really made it out of the village, but she was so great. A lot of people in the village loved her. She was a very beautiful spirit. If you think I talk a lot, you have not met my grandmother. If you think, and you will never meet her, I cannot believe this. And if you think I've got jokes, you've never met her. I think I was one of her favorite grandchildren, and everyone will be like, yeah, 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 but I know me and her had this thing. We had this thing. We got along. She loved me so much. I loved her. Sorry, cousins. Sorry. But yeah, the bond that we had was very special. Some people don't even get the privilege of having a grandparent, and God gave us that. And I'm so thankful for that. And now I have her in this amazing spiritual realm of her being an ancestor, and now I can have her with me here all the way, thousands and thousands and thousands. Now she has flown all the way from Africa. And she's seen, one of the things that I wanted her to see was my house. So now I feel like she's seen my house, and she's like, child. I'm joking. So yes, guys, I am back. We are back to regular programming, and yes, this is still Relocate to Australia with Promise, your number one DIY. You do it yourself and you save your money so that when you come here, you can set yourself up real good, okay? So this is a channel to be at. So do the things, guys. Do the things that people do when they are here. So yes, I'm trying to sign out. I'm trying to wrap this thing up. I haven't done this thing in a very long time. I don't know how to do it. I hope you learned something from this reflection session. It's just me reflecting on my pain. But yes, I hope you've learned and taken something out of this whole conversation. And until I see you again next week, we are back at it. We are working now. So I'll see you again, guys, next week. I feel like the last time I said next week never came. And the last time also the same thing happened. But it's life. It happens, you guys. It's okay to take some time off. It's okay to withdraw. It's okay to have alone time. It's okay to process. And I really do recommend it. Anytime, Jay, with anything in your life, I promise you said goodbye. But the last thing, anything with your life where you feel like I need to withdraw, I need to now evaluate what is going on with my life, I need to now see and experience and feel and go through everything, do it. Get out, get away from social media, get away from friends, like even people who are like, hey, we are worried about you, and be like, I need alone time. Emanyana, hold up a bit, just give me 2 days, I'll be back, so that you can refuel and you can be with yourself and be okay with being with yourself. I think if I had not relocated to Australia, I wouldn't have developed that skill. I was a mess when I was back home. I was so depressed. Yo, guys. Hey, my life was a mess. Yo! My life was a mess for many reasons. I feel like there's so many things that were playing together. That's all. Witchcraft, I'm sure a little lawyer. Now witchcraft it doesn't reach. By the time your sangomas things, by the time they reach the ocean, the ocean is already dissolved that thing. It doesn't reach me. That's why I'm so happy. So yeah, that's that from me, guys, today. I'll see you again next week. I promise I'll be back. And then we'll be back to the relocation talk. And don't forget to go to our Facebook page. And yeah, see you again next week. Bye-bye, you guys.